spaghetti.
S-D-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
It's the pre-Sweden show, yeah?
Yeah.
I noticed our good friend David Alter, our good friend Christopher Johnston. They're all over there right now. So Drew and Steve are leaving basically right after this show.
Yeah.
Nope. They're leaving like
sort of.
13 hours from now.
No, it's right after, Jesse. Toronto. It took how long did it take him to drive in here
under
today?
12 now.
Okay. Yeah. Isn't your flight like tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to take a
We
very
decided
long
to
time.
record early today, but then Toronto traffic said, no, Steve, you can't be here early.
Oh, my God. you just turned into a psychopath, like sitting in Toronto traffic. I'm like, I want to start a class action lawsuit against ourselves. We should all sue ourselves for how bad we are as a collective at driving.
I think you're gonna have to just take that GO train down and let Daddy pick you up.
Oh.
Like the old days.
You
But not Jesse.
talk to me dirty.
No, I'll
I
walk.
will absolutely do that. Yeah, Jesse, can you start also taking the train so we can not pick you up?
Yes, I will.
Okay, sounds good.
So if you're unfamiliar with how the schedule's going to go, because we mentioned it at the end of yesterday's show, we are going to do Today's going to be what I call an efficient show because, frankly, we just did a show less than 12 hours ago.
We'll see about that.
Less than 24 hours ago, I guess. There are some stories, but we're going to save a lot of it because come the end of the week, Saturday morning, we're going to record, and that's going to be a whopper. And that'll be all online. Steve will be recording from Sweden. What time will it be there? Have we figured that out?
It'll be a pretty normal time for me, like 2.
Okay, so it'll be like 9 o'clock for us, though.
Yeah.
Are the Leafs games
I think
at
8?
Are they local? I haven't even checked this because
It's 2 p.m. local on Friday, I believe they play.
sick.
And then
No, that's 2 p.m. here.
yeah, local to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Local-
not
so
to you, Sweden boy.
Friday's game will be 2 p.m. Toronto or 2 p.m. Eastern, whatever, 8 p.m. Stockholm.
Okay.
But Sunday's game, here's me staring down the barrel of the camera because I feel like the majority of Leaf fans still don't know this. It's at 8 in the morning Eastern.
Sick.
If you're a Western Leafs fan, Christine, you're all the way out in BC. That's going to be on at 5 in the morning. Just letting you know.
Cool.
Just making sure you know.
I like a Friday afternoon game.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Friday afternoon is cool. I don't know about Sunday morning.
Sunday morning will be fine.
Yeah.
My partying days are behind me, so it's not like I'm waking up with a hangover.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The only thing is,
It'll be great for dads.
for those of us F1 fans, the F1 race in Vegas is on at 1 in the morning, and then the Leafs game is on at 8 a.m. So I don't know how my weekend's going to work. I might have to stay up from 1 to 8.
I'm going to nap. I'm going to go to bed at like 8 or 9, and then I'm going to get up for the Vegas. When's the qualifying? Qualifying's early too, isn't it?
Qualifying is, I don't know the actual time, actually.
Yeah, because I like a good qualifier, but maybe I'll just only get up for the race. I'm excited for the Vegas race. It's just going to be freaking late, so it's going to be a big sportsy weekend.
Everything's going to be great.
I think it's 10 p.m. local. Okay. I don't have it.
Have you guys?
I got figured out.
Have you and Drew, gone through your passports, made sure nothing's expired? You got them all.
Oh, yeah.
all
Don't you
packed?
worry, buddy. We're all checked
You
in.
guys packed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. I love the pre-check-in because it means nothing. It's like, you get to pre-check in and not wait in line, except for when you show up, you do.
I'm worried that it's going to be hell at the airport. And the reason I'm worried is because I've started
You live in Toronto.
Well, and I've started to get cocky.
Oh.
You got to show up 6 hours before your flight. Otherwise, they're going to
International's got to be 3 hours.
like put a camera up your butt or no, whenever.
I like getting in there.
Never been the case for me.
I like getting in there, and I like lounging. I like just.
This is how the
lounging.
conversation always goes. You need to be there 3 hours early. I go, no, you don't. And you go, yeah, but I like to get there early.
Best place on earth is the Air Canada Lounge. I'm telling you right now, if you've never been to the Air Canada Lounge,
Yes.
do it once in your life. It's the coolest place on earth. Everything is free.
Adam's favorite spot to spill coffee.
Have you ever been to the Air Canada Lounge and you said, hey, I want an entire bottle of vodka that I can just pour in a glass? Because they have that.
You want to talk?
They have open bar that you pour yourself. It's crazy.
But like, is everything okay?
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but like, are you good?
You want unlimited cookies?
Oh yeah.
Air
you're
Canada
talking
Lounge.
And they're there for like, isn't
Fat
there like,
language.
There's like a omelet sometime.
You want unlimited pasta? They have it. Air Canada Lounge.
Oh,
You going the healthy route? You need a salad? They got it.
And the leaves aren't even wilted. It's like good salad.
It's like good.
Whoa.
The
Crispy
people in there
salad.
work hard. They're refreshing it. You don't even have to take your plates back. They have people walking around consistently 24 hours a day, taking your plates back for you.
Wow.
Greatest place on earth.
You see what's happened with Jesse? I've rubbed off on him.
Ever had an aha?
He's starting to talk a bit.
Ever had an aha?
Is that, it's like LaCroix?
Yeah, except better. Unlimited. Air
I've never
Canada
had
Lounge.
an aha.
Have an aha at the Air
Really?
Canada Lounge.
I think
right.
the best brand of fizzy water is whoever chooses to sponsor us.
Blue Monkey, also very good, but they don't have it.
Never heard of Blue Monkey.
Very good.
These are all things I need to try.
Yeah. Get your fizzy
Never heard
game
of it.
up.
I will.
So listen, I like to get there early. I like to get in. I like to relax. I like to do exactly what Jesse's saying. You're saying you'd rather sweat it out, be in line, get
That
ready for
makes no
security.
sense.
No, I think we should all like sit in the world's most. It's like they got all the best scientists and they were like, let's make the least comfortable chairs known to man and put them all in the airport.
No, I mean, listen, Pearson is the worst airport in the world. There's no question.
Yeah.
Except for the awards it receives every year for being the best airport
Which,
in the world.
by the way, hey, can I tell you guys about those awards? Can I tell you about, so like with Forbes, like, you see the 30 under 30 list and all that, they all pay for that.
I believe it.
So I got an email the other day notifying me that I had won CEO and that SDPN had won Sports Platform of the Year at some British company. And they're like, for the low price of 7,000 GBP, you can be featured prominently in our magazine.
They
and I was
wanted
like, what?
7,000
Pounds.
to be featured
Yeah.
in what?
In some magazine. I'll see if I can find a CEO of the year.
Oh my God.
And it's really funny because because they'll send you like a little email, it'll be like confirming next steps for SDPN. And it's I forget what it's called, but it's just one of the most ridiculous. I'm not even going to shout out the magazine because it's not worth giving them the promo.
No,
But
yeah.
all of those
Don't do
things,
that.
all those awards you hear about, I don't know if JD Power is that, but when shitty cars win a JD Power award and you're like, how? A lot of those awards are self-funded.
The Pearson Award was chosen by passengers, to be fair.
Fuck off. No, it
So,
wasn't.
Drew, if you want to pull this up.
It wasn't. No, it was not.
If you want to pull this up, this is the Greater Toronto Airports Authority. For the 5th year in a row, Toronto Pearson has been named Best Large Airport in North America by Airports Council International, the global trade representative of the world's airports. For the 2nd year in a row, as chosen by passengers, Pearson also received the award for Best Hygiene Measures by region in North America.
It's
So, yeah.
decently clean.
It's clean.
The Airports Council International voted Pearson for the 5th year in a row.
What the hell is
Pearson
that?
Airport is the second best airport in Toronto.
Yeah. It's so true.
Like, what are you talking
And
about?
are we counting Downsview? Like, it might be 3rd.
Yeah, it might be.
I've never even been to that.
There
one.
was supposed to be a new international airport for the east end of Toronto in Markham before they built all the houses.
No way.
And then some government nixed it, but it would have been a split between Pearson. So if you're a West Ender, you would have gone to Pearson, which is not in Toronto, it's in Mississauga.
Yep.
And if you were an East Ender, you would have gone to this Markham International Airport, which would have been fabulous. But
Like
of course-
LaGuardia and
JFK.
Newark.
Oh, Newark.
And JFK.
So-
and JFK,
Dulles
yeah.
and JFK.
And
Yeah.
they got 3. you
I
know?
changed my verdict, Jesse. Pearson Airport is the best airport in Mississauga.
Yeah. I think here's the problem with Pearson is that it's not run by anybody.
Oh, good.
So I don't know if you know what the MTCC is, but it's basically the governing body that runs it. Toronto has no authority over the MTCC. Mississauga has no authority over the MTCC. The provincial government has no authority over the MTCC, and Transport Canada, which is the federal body, has no authority over the MTCC. So whenever decisions need to be made, nobody knows who to make.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
what does
that's
that
why it's so bad.
organization do? Like, what?
Well, I mean, what does any organization do that's government funded? Sits around, collects their paycheck, has sweet benefits and a great pension. It
Cool.
sounds pretty great to me. Yeah, that's why it's so bad. And so now you know. Now you know. It can only be government incompetence. Now let's talk about more incompetence from a bureaucratic level. Let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers, who were rewarded for bad behavior by winning last night.
Man, all the big guys got the job done. McDavid ended his drought. Draisaitl had 4 points. Tell you what, that Chris Knoblauch win looked an awful lot like a Jay Woodcroft win.
goal on the second shot of the game by the Islanders, who cannot
40
score.
seconds in.
Who cannot score.
Still
can't score. 5 years here. 5 years into Lou, we can't score still. And then that was it. Like at least they didn't lose to San Jose, really. And I was happy for Knoblauch, but it did feel like, yeah, if Edmonton's going to win, those guys probably have to score.
Can I make a point there?
Please.
Can I make a point? So Lou Lamoriello has done a come see, come saw job at the Islanders.
He did get them to like the conference final in the second round.
And we all thought they'd finish last.
Yes. But I wonder how much of that was Barry Trotz, who is now no longer there, and they haven't had any success since he left.
Islanders fans thought they would finish last, and then they were just riding high because, it was just us against the world and FU, and they had 2 berths in the Final Four, and they had to play Tampa both times. Sucks to be you. There was a whole segment of the Chris Johnston show from yesterday, CJ show. It was great, listening to on the way here. And the whole segment is about how Jaromir Jagr is 51, still playing professional hockey in the Czech Republic, which makes him ineligible for the Hockey Hall of Fame until he retires.
Yes.
Yep.
Lou Lamoriello's still working his butt off. He's been in the Hall of Fame for years.
Gary Bettman.
How's that fair?
Is still the commissioner.
Bettman was inducted like half a decade ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is that fair?
Just put him in.
Just put Jagr in?
Yeah.
Well, Adam, it's either they got to put Jagr in or take the others out.
I listened to that
Rutherford
segment
too.
too.
Get out.
And I guess Wayne Gretzky was the last one that had to skip the 3-year rule.
In 99.
99. And that made sense because it was Wayne, but also what I think they were saying on the CJ show was that it was creating a 2-tiered Hall of Fame. Oh, did he get in without having to wait?
Right.
Or did he get in and he had to wait?
I agree. I agree with that.
And I like that. Here's the new rule. You're retired 3 years or you're over the age of 40.
Oh, that's not. No, I would say 45.
Okay, 45.
Because like right now we got like Gio who's pushing that.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in the league at 40.
45 or 50.
Yeah, 50 even 50.
Even 50.
Yeah.
I don't even care. It's just 50.
I like that. That's a very good compromise.
Because I don't think Jagr owns Kladno. He's on the roster. He plays basically now to sell tickets for his own team
to keep the franchise alive.
He's not retired, but
and it's like this is where, again, bureaucracy, and no disrespect to Lanny McDonald and the Hall of Fame people, because I think they do a great job. I do think it's a little strange that we can't find a workaround for the third leading scorer ever.
Second.
Oh, is he ahead of Messier?
He sure is.
Okay, well, there you go.
Howe and all of them. Yeah. Except for Gretzky.
We can't find a workaround for Jagr? For Jagr?
I know.
Come on.
He might, I'd have to look it up. He might have more professional points than Gretzky, but you would have to count every league he's played in.
Mm-hmm.
Like Russian Super League.
Well, they count
Czech
Gretzky's
League.
WHA points every once in a while when it's convenient.
They do. Which I think brings him to
over 1,000 goals, 1,071 or something.
It's just under 3,000 professional points. If you start including the WHA, it screws up a lot of records. Like Bobby Hull, I think, is over 1,000 as well. But no, let's actually have Wayne Gretzky.
Do we want it
instead? I think I'd prefer it.
Do we want to talk about the game a little?
Yeah, I do.
Nah.
Okay. Because like Edmonton, I want to know if they're back or if they just scored 2 power play goals. Because that's essentially what happened. It's a 1-1 game, and they scored 2 power play goals in an empty netter.
Jay Woodcroft hockey, baby.
I think if that's what they are, then that's what they should do.
I want to show the screenshot that just.
We're getting there.
No, I like it.
Attention somewhere.
The Islanders are literally okay. Like I'm looking at Sorokin's record. He's 3-3-3.
He's one of the best goalies in the league.
I know, but that they're just if Sorokin is 3-3-3, the Islanders are literally okay, and it's probably because of Sorokin. Now,
Lamov's been good too.
I wonder about the Oilers because I don't think you can go from this game like sometimes when a head coach takes over, it's kind of instant, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Leafs, I think won 15 of their first 20 games under Sheldon Keefe after Babcock. It was clearly the coach needed to go,
and then the world shut down.
Yeah. And then the world shut down, and also they lost to the Zamboni driver, but let's not talk about it. Yeah. I didn't feel the same vibes from last night. I mean, yes, it was good for Connor and Leon to score because it's rare, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel the exhale because I still think that the problem with this is that, nobody outside of Toronto thought that the Leafs in 2019 were like a Stanley Cup favorite.
No.
The Oilers, how many people picked the Oilers not just to like, they'll advance in the playoffs, they'll do definitely a Final Four team. Everybody was like, no, not just Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup winner.
That's what I said.
And I mean, I understand that they're probably under a ton of pressure, but I didn't feel like that was the aha game. And I don't know. I think if they beat up on the Islanders, maybe I'd feel like that a little bit better. I think it was okay, but we're not quite there yet with the Oilers. I don't think we're there.
It was chicken soup, I think.
Okay.
David ends his drought. Draisaitl has a great game. They hold the Islanders. Yes, it's the Islanders, whatever. Who cares? To not that many shots. And Stuart Skinner stopped all but one shot. He had a after the first minute shutout. We call it a Freddie Anderson or Jake Markstrom shutout. Two goalies that are just allergic to the first minute of the game. I don't know what it is. It's got to feel good. We talk about PDO, the luck stat. The Oilers are primed for a regression, right? They have one of the worst save percentages in the league, one of the worst shooting percentages in the league. They're primed for a comeback. However, I think the caution there is Stuart Skinner, there's plenty of evidence he's just not that great. Dating back to even last year. He was named to the All-Star game and decided, done. Their backup goalie is Calvin Pickard right now. And McDavid, the low shooting percentage, well, yeah, he's hurt. And he's not going to be
and he can't
unhurt.
sit. He can't sit because they can't play without him. They can't win without him.
You have to. I think you got to try. I don't know if they have some time off coming up.
Let's find out.
Or what? Or like a homestand would be nice.
I feel like so you got the Kraken tomorrow. And then you've got Lightning, Panthers, Hurricanes. So that's not easy over the next week. And then I think their first easier game, a game that they absolutely need and should win, is the Capitals on the 24th. I mean, they can win all of these games.
Oh, Adam, that's the kiss of death.
That's the thing.
Kiss of death.
You can understand if the Oilers lose to the Lightning, regular season game. Panthers, Hurricanes, Kraken, they should win. Kraken not off to a good start. I'm starting to regret my Kraken prediction.
Oh
Jesse might have been right.
Sorry, Jesse, I'm just sending you.
It's just I don't know. I don't feel like we've. I want this for Oilers fans. I don't, the roster, whatever. But I want this for Oilers fans because I feel like they don't deserve this. This cap situation. They don't.
What are you doing right now?
I want this.
They're not going to be
good
nicer
for the
to you
fans
because you said that.
Huh?
They're not going to be nicer to you because.
I don't care. They're never nice. Actually, you know what? Oilers fans are nice to me. Oilers fans, are they upset with you? Because
honestly, I'll talk about this. I feel like my turning point at Sportsnet, when I sort of settled into the role and I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay here for a few years, is when I started talking about how no one outside of Toronto liked me.
Oh.
On camera, and I was specifically talking about Oilers fans. And then for dang it's, we invented Oilers fan Steve, where I was just like, oh, I'm glad that idiot's not doing the video this week. It's Oilers fan Steve. Don't care what all you Easterners think, and blah, blah, blah. And a number of Oilers fans saw the humor in that. And they saw a reflection of themselves.
It was good.
They're like,
he's funny.
He's in on the joke, a little bit. And that's when I started seeing a little bit more support from outside of the GTA. It's always been there, but Sportsnet was the first time in my career where people saw me who didn't want to.
Yeah, that's the great thing with broadcasts is they can force people down your throat, right?
Right? If it's on YouTube, if there's something you don't like on YouTube more than once, that's your fault. You know that, right? If you see it once, you hated it, yeah, you move on, and you could even click not interested. Google, don't show me this bullshit. You can do all that. If you see it more than once, that's on you. You're obviously a little curious.
Yeah.
You know how many people there are that hate every episode?
Very few, I would think. Jesse,
stop flirting.
Jesse, who's the fan base that gives you the most trouble?
I want to talk about the game.
Why?
We didn't even get to.
And you keep not saying
we didn't
it.
even
What
get
do you
to
wanna say?
the Draisaitl thing.
What about it?
Why didn't we?
Because
I wanted it.
when he got called for tripping on Horvat,
This
and
is
he
one of
he
the.
hacked his shit.
This is one of the most ridiculous things
You
I've
can pull it
ever
up
seen.
here. Like,
Look at this screenshot.
I don't know how he keeps getting away with this.
By the way, Oilers at home playing the Islanders on the road looks like an intra-squad game.
It does.
Yeah.
What is
does.
that? But yeah.
What do you do about Leon? You just let him do this for the rest of his life?
Well,
They can't call everything.
I mean, no, they did. They called this.
I know, but
they
in
give
the
him a
playoffs,
tripping penalty.
They're not calling that in the playoffs.
I don't. Yeah, they are. Maybe. I don't know. They're not calling anything in the playoffs. I feel like this doesn't need to be more than a 2-minute necessarily.
No, we're good on it.
But like, it's also it's
looks
also
like-
so fucking weird.
But isn't it
Why did you
intent
do
to
that?
injure?
Sorry?
Isn't it intent to injure?
I didn't see that. Is that what Leon? Is that Leon's game? I don't think that's.
That's what he's doing.
Okay, so the argument I'll hear is, I mean, hockey players are basically like wearing like chainmail medieval armor. And he's hacking at Horvat in the one spot where there isn't any.
The back of the fucking shin.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't like it, but also like even
That was a deep cut reference.
what?
Back shins.
Oh,
back
that is
shit.
a deep reference, Jesse.
One day Adam was really tired and he couldn't think of the word calf, so he said back shin.
Producer Drew is texting me right now saying Leon Draisaitl needs to do this more. I love it.
Well, Drew, I got great news for you. He's the German of Genny Malkin. Like he's low key a bit of a, I'm not going to say rat, but like he just gets red mist.
We're okay with this. Hacking at the calf.
I mean, no, it's a 2-minute penalty.
I disagree. I think it's at least a fine.
Yeah, but Horvat, so you can't punish based on whether or not the player was injured.
Correct.
Which people tell me all the time, except that's not true, is it? It's not true even one little bit. If Horvat was hurt on this play, he gets more than 2 minutes. I would say he might even get 5. But he obviously didn't hurt him, so I don't know. It's 2 minutes.
So I want to ask you guys this.
Yeah.
This is my Roman Empire moment. Okay. Are we done with the game part?
Sure,
You wanna-
sure. Yeah, no.
I want to know.
Talk about the Leafs.
No,
Talk about-
I want to talk about.
No?
I want to talk about the interviews with Connor McDavid, and the morning skate.
Right.
I want to know if you guys believe that Connor McDavid really woke up to a text message, and it surprised him that Jay Woodcroft was fired. That's what he said. Now, what's interesting about this is that his agent is obviously running the team, and that his junior coach is now coaching the team. And it's pretty easy to connect the dots to see where we're going here because his contract's up in a few years and Leon's up after next season. So the problem that we have is that even if he did wake up surprised, he also said that Jay Woodcroft didn't lose the room. Even if McDavid did wake up that way, it's almost impossible for a reasonable person to believe it.
What would make you more mad? You're Connor McDavid.
Okay.
So the story's out there that you had something to do with this. What would make you more mad if you had something to do with this and people found out, or if you had nothing to do with this and people just said you did?
I think that it would annoy me if I had nothing to do with it. If he did have something to do with it, I think he's smarter to just own it and say we weren't going in the right direction, and just leave it at that. And then I'll tell you why. People are like, well, this is the McDavidification of the Oilers, and it should be. This team has not achieved its goals outside of the last couple of playoff runs, which have been pretty good. They were defeated both times by eventual Stanley Cup champions, which is good.
Oh yeah, you're
right.
Wow.
So I mean, it's not like they didn't play stiff competition, and it's not like they didn't succeed. But there are some holes on the roster predating that continue to this day. There is a cap situation that he didn't really make, unless you want to make the argument that he told them to sign Connor Brown or I'll kick you in the chest, which maybe he did. I think that I would be very surprised if an agent who now runs the team didn't protect Connor McDavid in this situation. Because Jeff Jackson, remember, his job is to protect players. That's what he does. That guy, for sure, would not have allowed Connor to get his hands dirty. But to say also that if Connor McDavid loved Jay Woodcroft, and he was like, fucking Jay's my guy.
He'd still be there.
He would still fucking be there. So it's pretty difficult to make it's an argument you can make both ways.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that Connor McDavid's words to Ken Holland, because we know they spoke because Ken Holland let that slip even though he shouldn't have, find it hard to believe that they didn't know how Connor felt. Because you're not firing the coach if you don't know how Connor feels.
I mean, think about it. You'd probably be stupid to not contact Connor McDavid beforehand.
And I think it's the right call. And that's why I wish they'd just come out and own it. Be like, you know what? Connor is helping with the direction of this team because we have not succeeded yet. Maybe we should ask the best player in the world to be involved a little bit.
I don't think you can say that.
You can't say that?
Well,
LeBron's won, but he kind of does.
One of the things we talked about last week is you need a little bit of public support to gas a coach. Or it can get ugly, right? It got ugly in Vancouver. I think they're happy now with the way things are going. But when they fired Bruce Boudreau and he's crying on the bench, that was ugly. More often than not, you're chanting to fire a coach before it's actually done. There was none of that in Edmonton. And that is a fan base that is
tough on coaches.
More than happy to let you know when your team stinks. They'll throw jerseys on the ice. They'll boo you. They'll chant for someone to be fired. Jay Woodcroft had, as far as I could tell, the full support of the fan base. So putting Connor McDavid in a position where he has to own the firing of Jay Woodcroft, I think hurts his image.
Yeah, because it was a situation where nobody really believed that any of this was Jay Woodcroft's fault.
But
it wasn't.
But now what it's done is it's allowed people to make their own mind up, which is obvious. Again, would it be intelligent, guys, to bring in a new coach and not have Connor on board with it?
No. No, it would not.
So reasonably speaking, he should. If he wasn't involved, he probably should have been.
Yeah, but he can't publicly acknowledge that he's on the side of Jay Woodcroft should have been fired because nobody believes that Jay Woodcroft should have been fired. I don't think they would have won or lost this Islanders game whether or not Jay Woodcroft is behind that bench. They could have easily won that same game 4-1 with Jay Woodcroft.
100%. Here's what it comes down to. I'm going to ask a very simple question, okay? Is Jeff Jackson stupid?
No.
Then Connor McDavid knew.
And he can't publicly say that.
Okay.
He can't publicly say he wanted Jay Woodcroft fired or anything like that. He can't acknowledge that. That's a death sentence
One thing
for his PR team.
One thing he can and should do is talk to his player, I think, about, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I've seen it come up in Oilers fans' Twitter, which makes me feel okay to come out and say it without getting pelted with tomatoes. I still need better body language from Connor. So after the game yesterday, I can't
play that clip.
He can't play that clip because it's
the broadcast.
It's from the broadcast.
Brutal.
Yeah, because it's a Gene Principe clip. It's not a press conference clip. Yeah. Gene Principe asked him, "How did you feel about scoring?" And he was like, "I don't, you know." And you're like, I think his answer was like, "Yeah, I don't really care."
I'll pull up a screenshot of his sad face.
It's Gene Principe.
Gene, who is like a teddy bear.
So for those of you who don't know who Gene Principe is, I'm fairly certain plays a skinny Santa at the mall. Seems like a lovely guy. Yes. He brings props, and every day is Halloween for him. He brings props and does funny skits at the beginning of a broadcast. And he is the rinkside reporter that I think you keep asking for when it comes to the Leafs.
No, I asked for a local broadcast crew. There's nothing wrong with Bukauskas or McKenzie or any of the guys that do the... I'm asking for a panel show that is about the Toronto effing Maple Leafs, please.
But this is what I'm saying. Gene does the Oilers.
Yes.
He is Oilers, and only Oilers, right? And he does a really good job at it, and he's... Oh, my God.
Somebody just took Connor McDavid's lunch.
And by the way, that face doesn't change.
No. Throughout this whole thing, this dude is the saddest man on earth.
Just keep scrolling.
Somebody he had Lunchables for lunch and somebody just went and stole it from him, the bully at school.
You know what? You know what's even worse than stealing, Jeff?
How long is this
When someone
clip?
just comes in and knocks it on the ground.
44. Yeah. Like it's in front of you. He's about to have the crackers and cheese Lunchable and they just go, eh.
Yeah.
Or the pizza one. Remember the pizza one? That was a really good one.
It's a big
What,
one.
Lunchable. You're not even listening. What
no,
are you
I'm
doing?
just looking at the angriest man on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And
Connor
so
McDavid.
Jeff Jackson has the type of relationship with Connor McDavid. Now, listen, is Jeff Jackson the CEO of the Oilers if Connor McDavid is not, if he's not Connor McDavid's agent? No, he's not.
No, because he probably doesn't
doesn't
build
mean-
that relationship with Ken Holland, doesn't get in the building,
And
all that stuff.
it does not mean that he's not competent. It just means that that's how that connection happened. Jeff Jackson's got the kind of relationship with Connor McDavid where you have to sit him down and say, Connor, you will lead with your body language. This is not a words league. This is how I look league because none of you guys know how to speak anyway.
Based on
It's-
based on the conversation we just had, do you think that's the sort of way anyone is speaking to Connor McDavid? Connor, you will do brr and brr, brr, brr. No, that. Hey, here, Connor. Hey, how you doing? It's me, Jeff. Should I close it behind me? Should I? No, I'll just sleep.
See, that's dangerous because I never felt
They
like
hired his agent.
if you were to look at the other best player of the last 20 years in the NBA, you look at LeBron. You know, guys, people definitely tiptoe around LeBron, but there are guys who are in working with LeBron player who will call him out when they feel.
But
he's wrong.
LeBron's never been this. LeBron's never had this. I brought it up yesterday. The dude is miserable when they're losing. It's not a cancer locker room because he's obviously very good, but it's infectious in the way that it represents the entire team attitude because that is your star player, and he is very sad when they suck. And LeBron's not like that. LeBron, he's an angry upset, but it's not like, hey, that dude is just straight miserable all the time. He's not Eeyore, and McDavid is Eeyore, and I wish, he's been like this his entire career, so I don't think it's changing, but I think there needs to be some sort of alteration in the way he interacts with the media and is publicly, because going into the later years of his career, it's not helping.
Crosby was also never great at this, but he would grin and bear it.
What?
You know what I mean?
Crosby was more on the ice. It wasn't really off ice. Crosby was...
He'd always smile off the ice.
Yeah, Crosby was great in the media at all times. McDavid's, his emotions on the ice aren't the greatest. His emotions with the media aren't the greatest. And his locker room presence isn't the greatest when they're not winning.
So,
And when they are, he still kind of scowls. And I'm not asking him to be howdy doody. I'm asking him to come out and be like, you know what? It felt great to get a goal for Chris Knoblauch on his first game. You know, I saw the press conference with his family. You know that clip that went viral? That's all he has to do. If the scoring thing doesn't excite you, Connor, then make it about the coach that you were involved, let's be honest, in bringing in. That's what it is.
He's never been that person.
maybe he's just here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and he's all out of bubblegum. I don't know.
I want him
at
to
this
kick ass.
point. At this point, he's been in the league. What is this? 8 years?
Yeah.
He's never gonna.
He's still
that.
he's still a person in his mid-20s. There's lots of time to change.
Steve,
Maybe.
we all grow. We all grow.
Yeah.
There's ways that you're like, oh man, it's not that you change fundamentally as a person. It's that you understand that the skill sets that you need to go to the next level are important.
He's not even the most cantankerous guy on the team.
No, Leon is.
Those are your two best players.
No,
But you
and that's
gotta-
why no one holds them accountable or says anything, because they're like, well, we need them to score 130 points each.
The guy
So I guess
next
shut up.
to me is just as pissy.
Oh my God! I've never really seen McDavid get into it with anyone.
No.
Draisaitl will just take offense to everything,
He'll hack your shin.
and he'll hack your shin,
Back shin, excuse me.
your back shin. That's right. I don't know. Ask for Zach Hyman if you want good answers. Otherwise, just don't bother. These
Well, no,
guys.
but I can't. I don't. Again, Steve, it's not about what the media wants here. It's about what the team needs. And sometimes wearing the captaincy is, I don't want to talk to this fucking reporter. I'm miserable right now. I hate the way this has started. But for 5 minutes, I'm going to put on a happy face because we just fired the head coach. Our fucking season is this close to being in the shitter. Matthias Ekholm is actively, openly talking about, do we punt on this year? Right? Okay. And then you get a win against a so-so team where both players who haven't scored do. You go, you know what? It's a relief and it's a great night for Chris. Yep. End of story. Great answer. Instead, what we got was that, and that's why we're talking about it.
Pull up
That's
the
why it's a story.
screenshot, Drew. Under the Connor McDavid's face right now, it says snapped 8-game goalless drought, 1 goal, 1 assist tonight. Oilers win. What is on his face?
Feel good. And even if you don't
The
feel good,
epitome of sadness.
One
Fake it,
eyebrow.
man.
Why is he so sad?
the NHL does a terrible job of PR training their players too. Just a terrible job. Just you can't. How are you going to sell the game?
I wonder-
The star player goes out and scores a goal, snaps a 10-game, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't even care." Like what? What are we watching for then?
on.
So
What
I
What are
don't
we watching?
I don't know if it's
Come on, man.
I don't know if it's an overall attitude thing. Like when I saw this clip was Gene Principe, I'm like, okay, he's just mad at anyone with a microphone. I think, well, because what do you think they've been getting good press?
Who cares?
Him
Play better.
him a lot.
Play better then.
He can't,
You
he's
want,
hurt.
if you play well in Edmonton, they will gas you right up,
I know.
and they should.
Hey, oil.
Yeah, I get it. Aha,
See?
oil and
Yeah.
gas. You see, and natural
Good.
gas.
Do we want to take a step back and say, like, this is also a problem for the league when this is your best player?
I mean, it is.
Like, this is the premier athlete of the NHL. Nobody is better on skates than Connor McDavid, and these are the interviews you get out of him.
I mean, the league isn't the league. This one's going to be fun. This ought to be fun. The league has punted on Connor McDavid. The league as an international brand, that they don't talk about him. It's no one's going to like this. It's Austin Matthews and new kid
Bedard.
in Chicago, Connor Bedard, American kid, Jack Hughes. They're not talking about McDavid. Canada is talking about McDavid because he's must-watch television. Rogers is talking about McDavid because they have this enormous deal with him. The league?
They're not talking about McDavid.
They're not talking about Connor McDavid. And it's got nothing to do with how he is as a player. They know he's great, but they know, I mean, getting Americans to care about any Canadian team is pulling teeth. And the guy doesn't talk. They'd rather focus on, like, what's the TNT panel or like ESPN panel talking about? They're talking about the Hockey Hall of Fame. They're talking about who's hot. So they're going to talk about like Bedard's game against the Panthers, even
The
though they lost.
Rangers laugh.
Yeah,
We're gonna
laugh.
talk
for
about
sure.
laugh with the Rangers. McDavid and the Oilers are so far down the league's list of priorities. If he was a marketable player, I think they would have given it a shot.
A good run, yeah.
He's not. Other than watching him, the second he gets off the ice, he's not worth talking about. The moment he steps onto the ice, appointment television.
Right.
Second he gets off the ice, fucking forget about it.
Man, that's why I like Jack Hughes and I like Quinn Hughes too, because they both have like a bit of a sly nature when they do their press
dear.
conferences. And Bedard is just like a sweet kid right now. We'll see what he develops into.
Bedard's so Gen Z.
Yeah,
I
he is.
I
He
love
is.
the dude.
He
He's
is.
awesome.
But like, but what'll happen is you'll start to see like Matthews, like Austin Matthews is kind of cool, right? There's a cool factor to him. And that's another guy that I see, like, if I was running the league and I was wanting star athlete, that's the kind of personality off ice that you want to market. And it's not that McDavid can't be. I've seen him be charming. I've seen him smile.
Yes.
I've seen him be
I
a
don't
guy
think
that
he's
you
a
go,
bad
holy shit, I root
person.
for that. But I'm saying that last night he erred. It was wrong. You got it. You got to be like, you're doing this. Remember, you're not doing this for yourself. You're doing this for the fans and yourself. And the fans saw a win last night. They saw you score last night. Sometimes you just got to tell people what they want to hear. And we're fans.
Yep.
Tell us what we want to hear. Come on.
He said we're back on the ice.
I love that.
Dude, it's sick.
Say that to Gene. Gene, we're back. Leave. That's it. It doesn't need to be a 5-minute segment. Be like, yeah, Gene, I'll talk to you. How do you feel? We're back, Gene. Boom. That would be the greatest clip in NHL history.
And Gene would have, oh my God, that would be Gene's next 2 weeks, especially if they continued winning.
100%.
He would literally show up to the next game dressed as the Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
He would show up to the next game dressed as the Terminator. He would get like a red contact lens and he would make that the bit for as long as the winning streak went or the hot streak went.
Yeah. I just don't want Oilers fans to get it confused here. Like, we're rooting for this. I am rooting for this team to be very good.
Yeah, but like,
I want this to happen. I want him in the playoffs.
I can at very least remember the spring.
Yeah.
And I know the ratings weren't great, but, Vegas is always exciting. And what was the magazine that had Matthew Tkachuk on the front?
People, wasn't it?
I think, yeah, because they were like, holy jumping shit.
He's a star.
There's a hockey player with personality on and off the ice. He has one of the loudest on-ice personalities in the league, and it's even louder off.
I don't think it wasn't on the cover. It was just
But he was in it.
Featured article in People. But
He was in it.
We didn't get the cover of People magazine, but he was in People magazine. Yes, just to clarify.
Whatever. Yeah. Like what is it? Pop Crave or whatever. Every time they mention the NHL, people are like, "Holy shit!"
No, it's usually "Oh no,"
and it's usually a bad story.
Yeah.
It's usually a bad story, but sometimes it's not.
I don't know. I just
like they weren't like, "Oh, we need to get the team in Sunrise, Florida in People magazine." No, here's a hockey player who's kind of interesting, vaguely. Who was on Pat McAfee? Who'd they invite on?
Bedard and Matthews and Bettman have been on.
So Bettman, we'll just gloss over that because, I mean, guys, let go of your ego for a minute. You're trying to sell the league. Please do not put that man on television. But then who did they get? The two guys who I mentioned first thing when this conversation began. Matthews and New Kid. New Kid in Chicago. You know how bad... Listen, I'm not into all the rigging conspiracies, but I do think the NHL was rather pleased that Chicago got...
They weren't upset.
They were not upset.
Yep.
When's McDavid going to be on McAfee?
Oof. If they go to the Stanley Cup final, you might see that.
How many guests down the list is McDavid going to be on McAfee?
Yeah, there's a long list.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
it's
cheering for the guy. He's the best hockey player on planet Earth.
Yeah, it's a weird problem the NHL has. Their most talented player isn't really marketable.
and this is where the media training, because they do get media training. This is where the media training fails them.
There's a difference.
Part of media training is not just obfuscating blame or minimizing bad situations or protecting your teammates. Part of it is selling the league.
Yeah, but Adam,
you seem to miss that class.
We've worked in broadcast for so long. We can't train people to be interesting. That's people are interesting in and of themselves if they have that in them. And I'm afraid if somebody's not interesting, you can't really teach it to them.
Well, there's also,
but you can't teach them to be nicer to the media. Yes. You're definitely not wrong about that.
It's not difficult to be cordial.
He acted like he lost when he won. I think we can train that.
You're right. You're right about that.
It's not difficult to be cordial. Dude, I think every moment in front of a microphone and camera caused Dion Phaneuf physical pain.
Yeah, he hated it.
Mm-hmm.
But other than a couple blemishes, he put on a brave face.
That's true. Yeah.
I think it actually was like an infliction on his body every time they.
Unless you got him to talk about cars.
Yeah.
Unless you could. Yeah, I drove it across PEI this summer. And
Phaneuf loved car talk.
He would just come alive, and then the moment the conversation shifted, Dion bot powers down, and he just wasn't interested in it. Eyebrows that do not move. But he was for the most part cordial.
His eyebrows
did not move. Incapable of moving. But
oh my God.
You hear stories from people anecdotally, on the golf course, and I'm like, you're making this up.
About Phaneuf.
There's no way he's that person. Mm-hmm. He sounds like an American Pie character, and you're like, that's impossible. That's the same person. It's the same when I hear oh yeah, I ran into McDavid. I'm like, holy fuck! Can you put that together just in front of a camera once?
Yeah.
Once.
So a guy who was super interesting but never showed it on camera was Matt Sundin. Okay, so this is a Leaf example, but
he was boring too.
But when we talked to him, he wasn't boring. When we interviewed him after his playing career,
he was done.
Because he was done. But on camera, no matter whether they won or they lost, and that the spotlight here is much like it is in Edmonton. It's super intense. Matts would say something, and it would amount to nothing. Nobody would get anything from it, and here we go. Mm-hmm. And at best, he would be like, "I'm really happy for my teammates." That is literally in this particular, and I know we're making a lot of it, but it is a big deal. You just fired the coach. And that's all you needed from your captain. And that's why I go back to my initial point, which kicked off this conversation. McDavid's former agent is the CEO of this team. And two other teams, by the way, the WHL and the AHL team. He needs to sit down with his prized asset, his top guy, and say, Connor, part of this job is sales, whether you like it or not. You got to sell this.
No.
When you win a game, act like you won a game.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just smile. Hey, Gene, we're back.
Well, I guess step 1 is win the game. Number 2 is act like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So we'll leave it at that. So a couple of things, just notes. Apparently the Panthers are aggressively pursuing Patrick Kane, like really want him bad. And it does make a lot of sense. It's looking like Boston may have a quick. I figured we'd spend more time on this, but the McDavid thing kind of took off.
I told you. You're like, oh, we have an efficient show. Bullshit. Show with me.
Jeremy Swayman will likely be locked up. They're saying he's extension eligible as of January 1st. And wouldn't that be a great, because nobody ever talks before the date. But I'm just thinking, wouldn't New Year's Day be a great day for Boston to announce a Jeremy Swayman extension?
I think there's going to be a few of those this year.
Well, because they would probably call him right at midnight and say, "Hey, Jeremy, we can talk to you now."
Yeah.
Right? We've got $50 million. What do you think? And he'd be like, "I don't know. Let me think about it."
Oh man, this is new information. Yeah. I appreciate that.
It's so funny.
I'm hearing this for the first time.
Restricted free agent deals take forever to get done. UFA deals in a snap. How is that possible? Oh, could it be tampering? Who knows? I also have I had a Swedish hockey trivia quiz, but you know what? I think we should get to the press conference.
Ooh.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, you know what? Because we have a ton of questions today. We haven't done a lot of press conferences lately because we've been talking. We need to shut the fuck up and let people ask some questions. What do you think?
Just a bunch of Easterners talking about Edmonton.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna go.
It's gonna go great.
Now, this show is brought to you by BetterHelp, and I this time of year is tough because Halloween's done, and in Canada we've got you don't have any Thanksgiving in between, right? American Thanksgiving's coming up. You got that to look forward to.
It's tumbleweeds, except there are no tumbleweeds, so it's just nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little early to be celebrating Christmas, although some people are out there doing it. Good for them.
This is why I encourage celebrating as early as possible.
The thing that hurts the most, though, is the time change. I can't stand the time change. 4:30, it's dark.
Kids handle it great.
And so here's what we need. My daughter didn't think we were picking her up for school. She got worried. It was wild. I think this time of year is one where you have a minute to go, okay, I've been grinding it out for a couple of months since the summer ended. Maybe I'm not feeling the best. And frankly, when I started going to therapy, it was because I was not in a good place. And usually that's when people try it out. Don't wait for that. Just give it a shot. BetterHelp is great because it matches you with somebody within 48 hours. So there's no big, long 6-week time for a therapist to find an opening. And if you don't like your therapist off the top, they'll match you with a new one really quickly. And you can communicate via text. You can communicate via video call. It can be phone call, whatever works for you.
Would you recommend I sink my feelings into Black Friday deals that aren't really deals, or I go to therapy?
I would suggest therapy.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/STP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/STP.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
First bit of news, the Buffalo Bills fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. That's for you, Drew.
Fist pump from producer Drew.
And
Fist
Steve,
bump
who has,
from me.
has Josh Allen.
I have Josh Allen. I
Yeah.
have James Cook. I have the kicker.
Yep.
Is that his name?
Tyler Bass?
Tyler Bass.
Yep. You sure do.
Had another guy. I dropped him. He was trash.
You lost this week, right? To Drew?
I did, yeah. I shouldn't have.
Yeah. I think you're in a playoff spot, though. You're holding on to the last playoff seed, if I remember correctly.
I've won more games than I should have.
I think
I'm 4-6 now.
I think you're ahead of Justin Fisher.
No, I'm
in
not.
standings. Yeah, I'm checking right now. Yeah, you're in the 8th seed. Justin's in the 9th seed.
What happened? I thought, didn't he win his first 3 games?
Yeah, he's had an awful losing streak.
What happened?
I don't know, but it's not been good.
He offered me a trade. Could I read it?
Sure. Yeah, do it.
So he wants Josh Allen from me, the number 1 rated player in fantasy.
He's not the number 1 rated player in fantasy.
Yeah, he is. Rank 1.
He's number one right now. He scored the most points.
Leads the NFL in touchdowns.
Really?
Wow. For Tua, who I see only 32% of the league has started, and Calvin Ridley.
Drew? No. Thumbs down from Drew. Yeah, I would hold on to that. I had no idea he was number one.
I thought about it, and then I saw he was number one, and I said, no.
I thought like Hurts would have been up there or something like that.
Yeah, would have made more sense.
Adam, this was a question for you.
Okay.
Are you going to be watching the F1 golf crossover, Netflix's first foray into live sports?
I'm kind of excited for this. The reason I'm excited for this is not necessarily for... first off, F1 drivers, especially like Sainz and Lando Norris and those guys are big golfers. Because, why not get out of an F1 car and
Why not?
That's hell to drive and hate your life even more on the golf course. But I think Netflix and sports is a combination that we haven't seen yet, and a combination that I think is Netflix's next horizon. And I think we've seen obviously the docuseries that they've done. They've been extremely successful. I want to see live sports. I want to see Netflix as a player for rights like NBA, NHL, NFL. I think that is the next horizon for them. I think they know it, especially with their different ad tiers now, because you can watch games, or you can get Netflix with ads. So it makes sense to me that this is going to happen, and I think they're going to look at this, and then my belief is that they're going to start to target sports ratings or sports properties after this and compete with the big boys.
They got to figure out the tech first. Like they got to prove that this stuff works.
Their live shows have been terrible.
Yeah, they haven't proven that you can have 1 million people on Netflix watching a live show at a time.
Well,
they haven't figured it out yet.
What was the reality show that you and I? Is it Love Is Blind? That they tried a live show with and they couldn't.
Yeah. They did a Love Is Blind live after show and it was a disaster.
A disaster. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think people understand. Like our show is essentially what they call live to tape. Mm-hmm. So live to tape means whatever you put out there is what goes out with minimal editing, right? It's the idea is to quick turnaround. I don't think people understand how much of an art live is versus recorded.
Pain in the ass.
I hate pre-recorded stuff. Like I love the fact that we do this show kind of live to tape. Anything pre-recorded or whatever, it means you got to take 50 fucking shots of it. It's got to be perfect. Like I don't have the patience for that. I don't care.
Yeah, but that's because you got ADHD.
Yeah. So I'm just owning what I am. McDavid hired the new coach, and I hate recorded shit.
Okay, I know I have undiagnosed ADHD. I would just like Instagram and TikTok to stop clubbing me over the head with it.
Confirming it.
Can you please stop telling me every 5 minutes?
Be careful about TikTok diagnosing anything.
Yeah, but they're also like, here's a list of things you do, Steve, and I'm like, fuck. All right, fine.
Adam was making a point.
My point is...
yeah, but I have ADHD.
Live.
And I can't fucking...
So what Netflix is good at is the thing that I hate, which is multiple takes and whatever, getting it perfect. Yeah. Perfect to me is imperfect. I love imperfect. Netflix has to get used to imperfect. You have to get used to the fact that things are going to go wrong and you have to adjust. And they couldn't do that with Love Is Blind. So I'm curious about this golf F1 thing to see if they can manage it, because if you do a live broadcast... there will be no perfect live broadcast. Something always goes wrong, and something always threatens to derail. Like, think about every time that you've done your Saturday Night Live stream, Steve.
Oh, I know.
There are some days, and I know this from behind the scenes, and it's not because of it's lack of talent behind the scenes. It's just because shit goes wrong.
Oh,
those streams were hanging by a thread sometimes. You barely got through them.
It was, I was off one week. And Kipper and Bourne replaced me, and their shit didn't work.
Well,
and I was like, hey, I'm at home. You want me to just take over and do the rest of the game? So I did.
So this is the point, right? I hope Netflix gets used to that. Live is exciting. It's a challenge. It's fun. It's by far the better way to do things anyway, because the energy's there, unless it's like, a cop drama or something like that. So I'm hoping that this is a huge success for Netflix, and I'm hoping that it means that they're going to start jumping on our rights. But Netflix, for me... is like to me, Netflix and the NHL make a lot of sense. And when the hockey rights deal is up in Canada, you want to win Canada and you're a streaming service, you want to dominate Canada, just buy the hockey package or buy a hockey package.
Whatever happens, I just want people to have jobs.
And I think you would then, if that's what you want, then I think that Netflix would be very. I think Amazon, Netflix, all these companies are putting big money behind sports. So you want a streamer to jump in. They got way more money than the local broadcasters do.
Yeah.
So Jesse, go ahead. Sorry, that's how I feel.
Jesse, can you show the picture of Draisaitl?
Hacking a bone.
Yeah, Barzal. No. I'm joking.
Do you guys play a lot of video games this year? Scott Shigemi is asking your pick for video game of the year. How about like your personal video game this year that you love the most? Do you have one?
I'm still playing Red Dead.
Oh, really?
I'm still playing. Like, I just, I don't have time
To discover something new?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could discover something new. Here's the problem with getting older is you can't play games online. You can't.
The kids are too good.
The pool is too good. If it's me who plays it, 2 or 3 times a week for an hour and a half at a time, versus someone who plays it 4 hours a night, I'm gonna get killed. Like, I thought I played a lot of Halo until I played it online, and I was just like, oh my god, I wouldn't want to dedicate the time it takes to be this good. To even like just not finish last in any given game.
Because Leo might be like, I haven't seen my daddy in a long time.
Yeah, this was like before he was born.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And then, of course, COVID hit. The period of COVID, when it first started, from March until when I became a dad in June, that's the best I've ever been at Chell.
I've seen the memes of like the video game group chat during COVID and people like crying.
Yeah.
That's when it flourished. Like that was the peak of video games our entire life when everybody was at home.
I'd watch that documentary. I'd watch that like we were all in the Disney bubble together. Like anyone who diminishes the bubble cup or the bubble Larry O.B. didn't play video games during the pandemic. That was the best era of video games ever seen on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Never to be replicated.
The Lakers,
Ever.
the Lakers championship is I think one of the greatest championships because it's the most pure basketball. All of those guys, all they could do 24/7 was play and practice basketball.
Yep.
They were at their peak after sitting for months. You don't think these guys are rested and ready to go? Like it's the best we'll ever see them play.
Did you see Buddy from the Clippers?
Yeah, it was Lou Will talking
Lou
about
Will.
That's why we're talking about it. Yeah, he went out and tried to diminish that because the Clippers, like they clippered and they
stopped
fucking
trying.
flamed out.
Yeah, no, they stopped trying
But-
because they heard the bubble chip wouldn't matter, so they stopped.
The video game of the year,
I don't know.
Red Dead. Adam?
I think. I mean, I'm gonna give it to
5 years old.
Fallen Order, which is the Star Wars game. It's really good, although it does sometimes get to the point I'm like, am I playing a Star Wars game or am I playing a puzzle game? And if you've ever played it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, so there's parts of it that are super satisfying. There's parts of it that are super annoying. I don't think this was a great year for video games. I think there was a lot of what Drew? What's your pick? Spider-Man.
Oh,
Okay,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
Apparently that's been great. I haven't played it.
I
I
haven't
might
played
get
it.
Spider-Man because Leo was into Spider-Man.
No, okay, so I think that makes sense. I've gotten into like nerdy games like that came out during the pandemic, like Bannerlord and stuff like that.
I've never heard of
love
that in my life.
That game, it's so good.
Good for you.
It's the nerdiest freaking game you've ever heard. I think Baldur's
Bannerlord.
Gate is going to be the one that wins everything.
Yeah.
It's like an Elder Scrolls type game where they kind of just drop you in and you go and apparently you can have video game sex. The cyberpunk.
Why? When did that become a thing?
It's why?
Hey, you can customize your dick.
Why do they have
Why?
sex in movies, man? It's the same thing. Human
No, it's
beings
not.
are sexual.
No, it's not. No one was ever like, these two characters have sex, also customize their dick.
Well, the whole point was to get as deep as you could get with the
What are we?
Too
what
far.
happened?
That's
Too
what they
far.
wanted. They
Go
wanted to
back.
be able to customize everything. It's
Too
like
far.
Cyberpunk. Same
Go
thing.
back.
I think the Cyberpunk extension did really well too. But I think Baldur's Gate's.
Oh, I bet the extension did well.
Jesse, do you have a pick?
I played the F1 video game a lot this year, actually. I think out
Can you
of
customize your dick?
you customize the livery on the car.
Oh,
That's cool.
to be
Did you
fair,
like it? Because I didn't buy it this year for the first time in a few years. Because I thought the last 2 years were the same game.
right. No, I did. I just like the Like, I like the simpleness of just going there and driving around and turning off your brain. Like,
Yeah.
I like that that's the game I played the most this year, so I guess that'll be my pick.
That's me kayaking in Red Dead.
Yeah. This is from Pet Truck. If you were the Leafs GM, what trade offer would you make Calgary for Zadorov and Tanev? So build your Leafs package for Zadorov and Tanev.
Abrazizi and a fifth.
Something that they would accept.
Okay, so here's the conversation
You
that
can't
I've
say a 7th round pick.
having. So it seems obvious Treliving wants Zadorov and Tanev in the same deal. There's no way that deal can get done that I can see that doesn't involve Brody going the other way.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate because he's actually played well. Riley's played well. They've played well together. And it would improve the team overall. Like, let's say Brody is the only piece you lose from the roster, which I'll get to. Is losing Brody but adding Tanev and Zadorov overall an improvement? Probably. Is it a seismic one? If you're going for it, you'd like to have all of them.
I wondered about something. As much as people are gonna you're gonna laugh at this.
Sure.
So I'll just straight up I'll be honest with you. Does TJ Brody need to go just to make the salary work? No. The guy that should go needs to go, but it means you'll pay more if he does, is John Klingberg. And if the Flames are going to, it seems like the Flames are somewhat ready to take on a quick retool and get ready for that new arena, which they should, right? They should. It'd be nice to have a last hurrah at the Saddle Dome.
It better be real quick.
It's a 2-3 year turnaround.
Well, so their first round pick in 2025 belongs to Montreal.
Okay. So this is where Toronto's first round pick in 2024 might be of value. And I don't want to give it up too early, but I would just say this. If you can keep TJ Brody, which makes more sense on the on-ice perspective, do you trade the lottery pick, which is your first round pick? It's a lottery ticket. You don't know.
Sure.
And you move Klingberg instead, who makes $900,000 less than TJ Brody does. You get some salary retention from the Flames.
You'd need
Abrazizi. You're going to have to add another asset. But like everybody's like, well, it's got to be TJ Brody. And I think that dates back to the Frank Saravalli report. If you want to make the team better, you keep TJ Brody. And my argument to Craig Conroy, and they know each other well, is listen, we know where you're going. We understand that John Klingberg is not in your long-term plans. Maybe you could flip him at the deadline for like a second or a third round pick or something if he turns it around. Maybe not. But I'll give you X asset. I don't know what the asset is. Abrazizi obviously is a part of it. Eric Francis tweeted about him. Eric Francis is pretty connected to the Flames ownership. Feels like that's a guy they're interested in because he played with Coronado. To me, and I know Flames fans don't want John Klingberg either, this is not about what you want right now. This is about what you can get outside of John Klingberg. Klingberg just makes a salary work.
Here's what I'm trying to do if I'm Brad Treliving. I'm trying to do two things. One, keep Brody. Two, keep Fraser Minton. Because
I think Fraser Minton's the guy. I think it's going to be Abrazizi, Minton, Klingberg.
That's the thing. I would want and a first.
I don't know if the first is on that one, but
that's quite the package.
That's quite the package, right?
Well, especially for guys that may or may not re-sign. I think Zadorov would probably re-sign here. I don't know about Tanev.
Well, Dan Milstein has a great relationship with Toronto, but Dubas left. That's interesting.
And Zadorov is 28 years old.
I mean, he would have a good relationship with Treliving as well, on account of Treliving traded for him.
Sure.
And this would now be the second time. But now you're talking about a top four of... Man, you're talking about a decor of Riley Brody, Zadorov, Tanev, McCabe...
Doesn't matter.
Liljegren or Giordano?
Like if you're a Stanley
Giordano
Cup winning team...
Holy shit.
You're not giving up the defenseman that's playing on your top line and making life easier for Morgan Riley finally. Finally.
If you add Tanev and Zadorov to this and you keep Brody somehow, that's a really good decor.
So Brody may have to be involved. See, I don't think the Flames are punting. That's the problem.
They are.
I think they are punting.
I guess if you're
good.
getting rid of those guys, you have to.
Yeah, the team's not good and no one wants to come back.
The other guy I wonder about is Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yes, he makes some sense.
Because the Flames can flip him to Boston for the inevitable whatever they're going to get.
God, please put a condition in there where you can't do that.
Also, Tyler Bertuzzi makes some sense for what the Flames want to be, at least for now. They do want to be tough to play against, and if you could get him motivated.
He's looked better. Does he have any trade protection?
Yeah, I think it's a set.
Oh, he's got he's got a full no move. Never mind.
Is it full? Yeah.
So that's out.
Yeah, so that's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's out. Sorry.
And I don't want to break up the forward group. I think they've done well, but I just feel like
he's looked better.
If this is a go for it year, and you have to think that it is, I think the Leafs have to look at that.
What about
Like I wouldn't trade a first round pick to protect Fraser Minten if that's the conversation we're having. I don't know what he tops out at. I believe it's like a third line center is what scouts are saying he tops out at. If that's what it costs you, I'd take the lottery ticket and if you want to improve at the deadline with it.
I was trying to talk myself into a Sammy Vladar swap in there. I don't think that makes any sense for Calgary. I mean, if you can ditch Klingberg, that's going to cost a premium. Oh, that's a tough one.
I think the Klingberg piece, I think you'd overrate the Klingberg piece. Again, Flames fans would be really upset about this, but really, when the Leafs were doing this, we've seen this up close. We were taking on salary. It's like, okay, here comes Eric Brewer, Eric Olli Jokinen. We had no use for those players. Their deals were expiring at the end of the year.
Yeah, the Klingberg deal, he would go to Calgary and then go to Calgary by way of another team. Like if I'm them, I'm sending him out for more draft picks.
Of course.
He's a UFA, right? That's a deadline rental.
The interesting thing, though, is when the Leafs made those moves, like for Eric Brewer, that was much closer to the deadline, whereas it's November.
Yeah, but they'll have this asset, and then come February or March, they move him.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense to hold on to TJ Brody, and I don't know why we're trading him so quickly. I think he's been a very good defenseman for the Leafs. He's been not great, but not bad, and I think that's exactly what you need in a role like that next to Morgan Rielly. And then if you add Zadorov and Tanev, and then you have McCabe and Gio and Liljegren and everybody else, like that's a really good lineup minus Klingberg.
Everybody also acts like TJ Brody's like an immediate gone next year. I don't see that necessarily is the case. He might not be a $5 million defenseman anymore, but if you got him at 3.5, do you keep TJ Brody? Absolutely.
If he's willing to do it.
Sure. Why wouldn't he?
And he's
you also want Brody for the playoff run.
I think so.
Like you want Lagesson and Timmins as your extra and Liljegren when he gets healthy, and like that's a really good defense core if they can just improve it slightly with a Zadorov and Tanev. And I think the Leafs don't have a choice but to win in this little era here.
Let me throw something at you.
What's up?
What if you throw the Calgary Flames a bone and you include Klingberg and Liljegren?
Okay, so you retain 50% on both Zadorov and Tanev. Mm-hmm. It's just enough to be. What is Klingberg? 4.15. 4.15. So retaining half of Zadorov and Tanev, who add up to 8.25. Retaining half would be 4.125. Mm-hmm. It's almost perfect. If Calgary is down to try that.
Well, and Calgary probably doesn't care because their deals are expiring.
Yeah, they're retaining for this season, right? And
it's just this season, but then you're committing to, like, you're not going to recover this season. You're going to stink.
Yeah.
No, but we got to accept Calgary's not good.
So how about this? Liljegren, 24-year-old right shot defenseman with some mobility that you want to take a chance on. That feels like a fit to Calgary.
RFA at the end of the season, yeah.
And he's not going to make a crazy amount of money.
So Klingberg, Liljegren.
He's also not going to crack the Leafs. Like Lagesson's probably earned that end of the lineup, end of the D pairing spot.
Honestly,
right?
Yeah, it feels cruel to say because he's hurt, but like, yeah, I don't even think I said his name when we were doing the decor.
You didn't.
So exactly. So it would be Rielly, Brody, Zadorov, Tanev, McCabe, Giordano, and Lagesson.
And Timmins.
Connor Timmins.
Oh my God! And
Who
Connor Timmins.
I also have ahead of Liljegren.
Yeah.
So Klingberg, Liljegren. You'd probably have to throw Abruzzese in there.
Maybe Minton.
Probably Fraser Minton, unfortunately.
Oof,
You'd get to keep all your picks, ideally.
that's
You have
one hell of a
second
package.
round
Or Zadorov, Tanev, both at
Retained.
50%, somewhere between 45 and 50% retained.
Love it. I would do that today.
I would do that too. Now,
That's a great
probably
deal you
why
just
Flames
invented
fans
there,
are going to
Steve.
hate it. I think that's a good deal.
Yeah.
I actually do, because I do think that the star piece for the Flames is, whatever. Hopefully we can get some asset for Klingberg. But
They get
if
Minton and Liljegren.
You get Minton, who's a guy that fits their window of the next group. You get
He'll be a
Liljegren-
Flame next year.
You get Liljegren, who is a steady enough NHL defenseman who needs to show more consistency and will probably get more ice time to do it in Calgary.
When his fucking ankle recovers.
Yeah.
That clean play.
100%. I there's part of that makes sense to me, but we'll see what Calgary wants, right? And again, Flames fans in the compliment section, I'm sure, are not thrilled about that, but that's what a teardown looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
The other problem is the Leafs don't have a second round pick until 2027.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Who needs it?
That.
No, I'm just,
You're going after a Stanley Cup.
Calgary. It'd be nice to offer that up to
No,
Calgary.
you could have a fourth.
Not having any second round picks is why you have to trade prospects from your pool.
Yeah, well, you
They'll
have
be fine.
3 fifth rounders.
Yeah.
What does that add up to?
Yeah. That's when you're doing the thing in NHL GM mode and you're like, okay, these 3/3 are kind of like 1 second.
Yeah.
No. But the fifth is from Lafferty, and so it's the trade tree,
know what?
man. You gotta.
It would have been helpful to keep Lafferty and maybe include him in this deal, but,
Yeah, no. Crazy.
No,
Almost like Lafferty was a good player.
I think we came up with a
It feels
somewhat reasonable deal.
Tell me why it's not reasonable. That's what I'd want to know. If it's not reasonable, tell me why.
I got another question for you.
Yeah,
guys.
go.
This is from the CAC. The fate of the universe is at stake.
Oh, gun to the earth.
Iguodala.
A game between the humans and the aliens determines our outcome. It's either a basketball game or a baseball game.
Space Jam.
You get to choose between the baseball game, umped by Angel Hernandez, or sorry, basketball game, hockey match, reffed by Wes McCauley. You taking a hockey game with Wes McCauley as the head referee?
I'll take the hockey game.
I'm
Or-
taking the hockey game
Wes
with
is better.
Wes McCauley.
Wes is better at his job than Angel is at his.
1,000%.
It's crazy that Angel Hernandez, like it, the whole thing about, when you're working at a big corporation and you see somebody who's terrible at their job keep getting promoted, and you're like, or they're like the VP, and you're like, wow, we've only lost money the last 5 quarters and they're getting a promotion. People do fail upwards, and Angel Hernandez is one of those guys.
Listen, I've always said pro-union guy, but there's always some guy who anti-union people are able to point to and go, see, this is why they stink. And Angel, it's you. He's one of the worst officials in any sport in the entire world.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
The MLB knows, right?
Would you take neutral soccer match and then you get to pick which referee? Would your opinion change if you had to put Angel Hernandez reffing a soccer match or Wes McCauley
First off, I
reffing the
want it to
soccer
be in
match?
Peru so that when we win, they shut off the lights. Second,
Does your opinion change if the sport they ref changes?
No.
no,
No.
I think West would be okay.
Okay.
Wes sees things and does not call them.
Yeah.
Angel does not see the game properly.
This is the key.
He doesn't see the game properly.
Like Jesse, you played AAA ball.
You phrase it like
Jesse,
I played.
Did you
like
play
for the
baseball with 3 A's after it?
you act
were
like
a
I played for the
first-round pick.
Buffalo
Did
Bison.
you play for the All Ontario team or not?
No,
You were right
I didn't
there,
make.
though,
I
weren't
was
you?
right there. I didn't make. I didn't make OBA.
Okay, so you're pretty good.
I was
Do you
like
feel
15.
Do you feel like you could, if you really put your mind to it, do you feel like you could do a better job of umping a game than Angel Hernandez in the next 3 years?
Oh, if I get 3 years of practice,
years of practice.
100%. Yeah. If I get 3 years of practice, yes.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Steve's talking about, Wes has different bars of what needs to be a penalty based on whatever team he's reffing. Angel can't do it.
no.
Wes can. He just chooses not to.
John Boy had such a reasonable suggestion. Why does he need to be behind home plate?
Yeah, can't he be a second base?
Well, can he be third base? And then his biggest controversy this year was at third base with Bryce Harper.
Isn't there foul ball umps too, or is that the third base ump?
In the playoffs, they add extra outfielder umpires for the ones down the line. But during the regular season, it's the third base ump and the first base who got to turn around.
Can you imagine a foul ball not called by Angel Hernandez? Like I
Yes.
wonder. I legit sometimes I wonder. Like, does this guy need LASIK? Like I'm, like you know what I mean?
I
Like,
just don't think he gives a fuck. He gives a fuck.
What a great gig!
What
you
a
get to go to
great-
baseball games for free and fuck it up and no consequences.
Can you
That's
imagine
amazing.
what people must say to him from the stands?
Oh, he's so
yeah.
indignant. He probably like it.
Oh,
He's got main character syndrome.
and
the moon.
Every moment the camera is not on him is a moment wasted.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
in front of
ever.
5 cameras.
I don't think I've ever heard an interview with Angel Hernandez.
Good.
Do they interview umps?
No.
Yeah, but somebody must have talked to him at some point.
Joe
in his
West,
life.
because he's an attention hog. But other than that, no. He's also the worst. And like arrogant about how he's the worst.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe after this, I'll just look up some people talking to Angel Hernandez video, so I get a sense of what this guy's like. This is from Randy_is_out. Is Mackenzie Blackwood worth a Toronto first round pick if he continues to be a relative brick wall despite having probably the worst defenses ever in front of him?
There's other places they could spend that first. No, I don't know if I would do it in net. The situation in net is not bad enough to warrant that.
I also
That's fair.
You mean with the Sharks?
No, with the Leafs.
With the Leafs. Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah.
I mean, the Leafs are investing in Sammy. There was an article, I think it was Jonas Siegel, talking about like Nick Antropov is working with him and like translating what goalie coach Curtis Sanford is saying to him. They won a playoff series with him. You know, he was, of all the guys who have tried to do it, he was the first to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there's Joseph Woll, who looks like he's even better, even though he's been a little the last couple games. Like, there's reason to believe the Leafs have like at least a league average tandem there. I'd rather spend the first on something else.
I think Joseph Woll is a lot better than people are giving him credit for.
Give him a sec.
This guy is going to be really good.
Like-
I really do. But with the Leafs situation, show me a team that doesn't have this happen to at least one of their goalies once a year. Like, look at the goaltending situation that Florida rolled into the playoffs with last year.
Colorado last year with Georgiev, he had a horrible start.
And then Vegas too. How many goalies they had to go through to figure out, and then finally win the cup.
And Georgiev led the league in wins, I think.
The great thing about Sammy is, first off, that picture of him winning the belt was so fucking badass on Instagram.
So cold.
He's got strong brows. The other thing I would say is that we've seen him do it. He can do it.
Yeah.
So
like recently too.
I'm not worried about the Leafs goaltending.
No.
I'm worried about their Klingberging a little bit, but I'm not worried about the goaltending.
No, they played really well in front of Sammy. They put him in a position to succeed, and this year they've been trash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they're spending. Looking at making a move on D is the right move.
Yeah, and they've needed that for 8 years. A strong, like a big move on D. They have.
Next question. Do you think Connor McDavid, this is from Bush and Beers, winds up as the best player to never win the Stanley Cup?
No, I think he will win a cup.
Yeah,
I don't think it will be in Edmonton.
he's too good. I don't know where it's going to be, but he's too good to never win one.
No, I think he'll win. He'll win. And the thing about Connor is he's so good. Like everybody talks about Leon in the playoffs, and they should. But Connor is also extraordinarily good in the playoffs. He does show up when it counts.
I mean, here's what's really interesting. At what point does those two playing together become impossible?
We got a text from Drew.
Matthews just said Matthews will be the best player to never win.
From Drew, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That means you think
That
he's
means
good.
Matthews is better than Marcel Dion, Jerome McGinley,
Henrik Lundqvist for sure.
Lundqvist.
Definitely.
Like, it's pretty big list.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
A damn good list. Marcel Dion, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, people are talking about, what if McDavid requests a trade, or what if, like, the Oilers aren't going to be able to keep both guys. Surely not.
Dry and McDavid?
They're both going to be able to ask for more than what Matthews is going to get next year.
It's going to be tough.
Dude, they're both UFAs, what is it, 2 years from now?
Okay. How about this? 2025 season starts. 2026, we'll go even further. So
2026 might be what they ask for.
2026-27 season, where are McDavid and Draisaitl playing? Edmonton or not Edmonton?
Someone floated the idea of LA, and it filled me with rage. I'm going to say at least one of them's gone.
I think Draisaitl's gone. I think both will be gone if they don't win. But one of them will go. I mean, that's life, right? It's like Matthews and Marner. They will be here forever. Well, they won't, actually. I hope Matthews is here forever. I don't think that they will both be here forever.
Oh, eventually they'll...
How do you work that exit? Is it a trade? Is it you let them walk because you're trying to win the playoffs and you just lose them?
I think
that's devastating.
I think that you have to trade them. I think you have to trade. If Leon's going to be really interesting to watch. If the Oilers don't turn it around here, you're going to start to hear about that extension and the fact that he doesn't want to sign it. That's what I think is going to happen. If they don't start to win. If they win, they're staying. Why would you leave? But I think that at a certain point, if you're going, oh my God, nothing is happening here. To me, Leon Draisaitl is the big name. And if Leon goes, I think that it makes it more likely that Connor goes.
Every dollar under $15 million McDavid signs for is a discount.
Yeah.
25-26 is when Leon Draisaitl is a UFA. He'll be 30 years old that year. He's making 8.5 right now, and he's due somewhere in the $13-14 million range.
What's going to be hilarious is the first person to tweet, I wouldn't have given a 30-year-old an 8-year contract when Leon Draisaitl signed somewhere. I think that it's going to be it's going to be hard for the Oilers to, if they don't win. Like, you can only put so many people in positions of power to placate or make somebody happy. Leon
much does
seems
Hyman
to
make?
be like the guy who's most likely.
Hyman's 5.5 until 2028.
Oh, man.
We're going to reach the end of the 2025 NHL season. That's 2 seasons from now, right? The Edmonton Oilers would have had Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in their prime for all of their career for a total of, what is that, $21 million for the last couple of it. And if they don't win, that is a complete failure as an organization.
Cheaper than Matthews Marner.
Yeah. The maximum they spent on those 2 guys over their entire careers was $21 million. That's bad.
Do we want to wrap or do we want to have our fight?
Oh, what? The Leafs should have made the damn trade for Hyman?
What?
No, I don't want to I don't want to get into that. It's boring.
Is it?
It is boring. It's boring.
Yeah.
I think, listen, it's a huge failure on...
This was right.
I think it was a huge failure on the Oilers organization to not have been in the Stanley Cup final already. It's already a failure.
And not
It is. Like, those
terribly
guys...
close.
And look at... I mean...
Final 4, but then they didn't win again.
Ken Holland, I was talking about this on Sunday on the Jesse Blake Sports Report. Ken Holland's beaten 2 teams since he's been general manager. He beat LA twice and Calgary once.
Oh, gee.
The other time, they lost to the Blackhawks in the bubble. Yeah. And then
God,
that's it.
How did that happen?
In 4.
Oh, my God.
And then, that was the other playoffs, where they lost. And then
freaking
he was in 2019. So
Like, it wasn't close. It was...
No, it wasn't.
Really
and I'm forgetting the Jets. They got swept by Winnipeg. The 4 times he was in the playoffs, they beat the Kings twice, Calgary once, swept by the Jets, destroyed by the Blackhawks.
What was the problem? Can't defend.
Like,
Make it safe.
it's been an awful time in Edmonton.
Honestly, like, and with that talent, and listen, I thought the Leafs should have got past the first round of the Canadian division as well. The fact that it wasn't Leafs and Oilers in that second round is so fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, poor
On
Mark
both of them.
Scheifele and Jake Evans should have never met. There's no way they should have ever played a
That's
game
so-
against each
No,
other.
that fucking Montreal run.
Oh, my
I'll never
God.
get it. I'll
What a
never
brain
understand
breaker.
it.
Yeah, well, Carey Price.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Carey Price, Shea Weber playing on one leg.
No. The first period of Game 5, the Leafs let Joel Armia run him over like a Jeep that lost its wheel. Who? Joel Armia. And I was watching and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's just one period of this. And then it just kind of kept going.
Welcome to the Armia show.
Like, Carey Price was the reason the Habs won that series for one period of games 5, 6, and 7. The overtime of game 6. That was it. The rest of it, the Leafs were just hog shit. Fuck!
I think,
And then they handled Winnipeg, and then they handled the Golden Knights.
For anybody that's wondering, by the way, we are also embarrassed by Toronto's lack of success. I'm just saying, with the Oilers, they objectively have 2 better players than the 2 best players on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they do right now, or at least they did. Last year, if you go off last year.
Austin Leon's a close one.
Yeah, I think so. But I think you see Leon in the playoffs and how great he's been, and McDavid in the playoffs and how great he's been. I think that if it has not crossed both of their minds multiple times, even in the last week, I would be shocked. I would be.
Put Austin with McDavid. I bet he puts up pretty decent numbers.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And I do feel like, listen, man, you guys can tell me I'm wrong here, but we all saw Connor McDavid's face when that ball didn't come up Toronto to be the first overall pick. We all saw the face.
He was mad.
So he's coming? 2026?
I think, listen.
He was mad. I was there. Everyone was
they
talking
don't win.
about how he was mad. He was mad.
They don't win. Toronto seems like a pretty obvious destination, doesn't it?
Do you guys want to get McDavid Leaf jerseys for Christmas?
No. No, I don't want to be that asshole. No, I do not. And listen, I'm not rooting for it. I like our stars. I like their stars. I would love to see a Leafs-Oilers finals. I would love that.
You know what's going to be despicable?
What?
When Marner wins a cup in Edmonton.
No. You think he's going to Edmonton?
They'll have the cap space.
Well, I do feel like there's a reality where McDavid and Matthews are playing together on the same team every night. I think that's a reality. If the Oilers don't win, they got to win.
In LA.
In LA, yeah. You know what? That too could be.
First line, McDavid, Matthews, McKinnon.
Shut up.
Crosby on the second.
Yeah. McKinnon. All right, let's wrap it up. Steven, have a safe flight. Producer Drew, have a safe flight.
Yep. Try the meatballs. I hear they're Swedish.
Yeah. Oh. I will. And also, I won't have to drive in Toronto for several days.
No, but you got to drive home now, and then you got to drive to the airport.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.